Hey, hey, hey. Happy Wednesday. Come on in. Pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, interestingly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard, everyone. Tonight is Wednesday, January 21st, 2026. This is live stream 1277. If you're not overly familiar with the show, let me point out super casual around here. We just hang out talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. We tend to skew very heavily into role-playing games, but not always. And then I will usually have a first look at a game release. And tonight, we're actually going to take a peek at the expansion for the Plum Island Horror from GMT Games. This is More of a Bad Thing, designed by my good friend Hermann Luttmann. So we're going to jump on into this in just a bit. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Then also, because this is a live show, there is chat available. Now, you have to be a subscriber to the channel for at least 60 minutes before you can take part. And if you check that box and you want to say howdy, maybe you've got a question, a comment, fire away. I will do my absolute best to respond. First out the gate tonight is Mike. Semper Buffo is with us, as is one of our chat moderators, one of our good friends, the Madman, as well as Kathy Evans. W. Forge is also chiming on in. Mike points out extreme cold watch for Jeff's area, I see. Watching for bursting pipes on the live stream. That would not be cool. Knock on wood, we have never had a problem with that. And it has gotten mighty cold in the past. So this is not something that we have not encountered previously in these here parts. And yes, I know they're talking minus 20, minus 40 below with wind chill. Yeah, we've stocked up. We've stocked up on our grub for the next few days, just in case. All righty. Should also mention the lovely and talented Miss Sarah D. Another of our chat moderators might be lurking in the shadows with the glittery banhammer. So a howdy to her if she happens to be hanging with the gang tonight. So let's jump right on into the news, because pre-orders have begun for the Star Trek Adventures Species Source Book. I've got the scoop from Modiphius Entertainment. It is our mission to seek out life in all forms. We are privileged to have been present at the emergence of a new species. Captain Jean-Luc, there are 4 lights, Picard. For 60 years, Star Trek has presented a diverse array of alien species as allies, adversaries, and everything in between. Including this range of aliens isn't just a creative flourish. It plays a crucial role in the franchise's diversity of storytelling, themes, and cultural impact. This species sourcebook enables Star Trek Adventures game masters and players to learn more about the myriad species present in the Star Trek galaxy, and to use those species to populate their main crew an expanded cast of non-player characters. Characters of every department, from command to medical, can apply the new species templates, game mechanics, and character options to deepen their gameplay experience. No matter the composition of your crew, this guide provides the means for you and your crew to play a wide range of alien species from every corner of the galaxy. The 132-page full-color hardcover species sourcebook features 60 new alien species templates, each including a summary, sample values, attribute modifiers, traits, unique abilities, and many other details relevant to each species. More than 120 new species talents to be used with the species contained in this book are adapted for use with any other Star Trek Adventures species or your own original creations. Guidance and mechanics for creating your own original Star Trek species for use in your campaigns. Additional rules and insights on how to play a wide range of alien species, including androids, holograms, liberated Borg, Mirror Universe characters, and Bao Nakat. It's not ringing any bells for me. I probably mispronounced it. That would probably be one of the reasons why. As well as advice on using emotional states as traits. This second edition supplement is compatible with both first edition Star Trek Adventures and the Captain's Log solo RPG. This hardcover should carry an MSRP in the vicinity of, I'm taking a guess, $49.99. It's slated to arrive in April. Right now, you can place a pre-order. You'll also score the PDF with that for $54.74. Of course, exchange rates, it's going to vary up a little bit. That's why I'm taking a guess. We're probably looking at an MSRP of right around $50 when this hits stores. Cool. Not too shabby. We're getting, a wave of Modiphius Entertainment news this week. So we've got 2 Star Trek Adventures books. There's a new adventure campaign for, I think it's a campaign. I don't think it's just an adventure for Achtung Cthulhu, which I will probably be sharing that news piece on tomorrow's show. Coco B is with us. Says, yep, it's minus 40 to minus 50. Freedom units around there tonight, which reminds them they have to plug in the car. Yeah, right. So my guess, how is it on the planet Neptune? Where is it that cold? Well, there are some parts of upper Siberia I know I think like summer days for them are like 30s. Pretty wild. Pretty wild. On our next news piece, Cubicle 7 Games has released the latest adventure for Warhammer, the Old World role-playing game. Here's what I know about Thirst of 3. Step into the shadows of the great forest where isolation breeds fear and superstition takes root. Thirst of 3 is a quietly menacing folk horror adventure for Warhammer, the Old World role-playing game, crafted for those who dare to confront the unsettling and the unknown. Sent to investigate the mysterious disappearance of a trusted contact, your characters must brave relentless weather to reach the remote hamlet of Hugelstruck. Taking a guess on that pronunciation. There they encounter a community of strange, wary villagers whose secret rites conceal a deeper unease. Oh, could they be worshiping chaos, maybe? Maybe? Believing their traditions will keep the forest dangers at bay, the villagers cling to practices passed down through generations. But the horrors lurking among the trees are not so easily held back. Okay, maybe it's not chaos. Then again, maybe it is. I don't know. When night descends, order collapses and the village is thrown into turmoil. Survival hangs by a thread as time runs out. Whatever has become of your missing contact, the truth lies buried, and escape may prove the greatest challenge of all. Grimfolk horror unearth a chilling mystery in an isolated hamlet steeped in fear and superstition. It turns out it's the modern day, and if you cross the road, you'll actually see a highway. Oh, no, that was something else. Survival over heroics. Face overwhelming odds and mounting dread, where caution and retreat may prove wiser than steel. Flexible play. Ideal as a grim portent to launch a new campaign or slot seamlessly into an ongoing one. All right, so it's just an adventure. Starter friendly, fully playable with beginning characters, no prior experience required. In Thirst of Three, danger is relentless. The shadows of the great forest are alive with dread, and even those who cling to ritual and superstition may not survive its night. Do you have what it takes to face the horror and live to tell the tale? Probably not. The 24-page PDF is available right now over at DriveThruRPG for $4.99. I'm really looking forward for an opportunity to take a peek at the old world for Warhammer. Yeah, could I have taken a peek at PDFs? Yes, of course I could. In fact, if I remember correctly, I think my friends over at Cubicle 7 Games have already sent those PDFs, but I'm waiting. I'm waiting. That's why when I do a first look, it is a legitimate first look. I have not taken a peek at something and then gone, oh, hey, it's a first look, everybody. No, it's really a first look. But sounds like kind of an interesting sort of slow burn, maybe. And then all hell breaks loose. On to our next news piece. I do see Wallona's Cave has joined us in chat. And Keithulhu is also with us. I think I said hello to Keithulhu already. Maybe I did. Maybe I did not. Regardless, Expeditious Retreat Press has reteamed with Bundle of Holding for a money-saving offer on the Halls of Ardenvoul. And here's the deets on the deal. Adventurer. Resurrected for a second time is the July 2022 Ardenvoul bundle featuring the Halls of Ardenvoul, a vast mega dungeon from Expeditious Retreat Press for Dungeons & Dragons, AD&D, and other tabletop fantasy role-playing games. Originally produced in 5 volumes in 2020, the 1,100-page Ardenvoul is one of the largest mega dungeons published for old-school gaming, with more than 2,000 keyed encounter areas spread across 10 main levels and 15 sub-levels. The scale of the halls and the variety of experiences ensure no two groups encounter the halls in the same way. In fact, the same player group might run several different parties through the halls and never see a given area twice, even the entrances. For just $24.95, you'll have a new chance to get this revived offer's DRM-free PDFs of the Halls of Ardenvoul complete, which has a retail value of $109, and the Pay What You Want maps of Ardenvoul and the virtual tabletop maps of Ardenvoul for, you guessed it, VTTs. These savings will run through February 11th. Never had an opportunity to check this out. I'm always kind of curious about mega dungeons. So if you caught my interview with Robert Alderman from Pulp Hummock Games, we were talking about Gods of the Forbidden North and how huge it is. And I think it's going to wrap up. The 3rd volume's done. It's kickstarted. I think the PDF's already out to the backers, if I remember correctly. The hardcover's on the horizon. And it's going to total something like 1,600 pages. That is a lot of content, ladies and gents. But the thing is, Gods of the Forbidden North is not just a mega dungeon. It is not 1,600 pages of mega dungeon. There are various different regions and history and things like that. I always thought that the halls of Ardenvoul is a dungeon, right? So probably 900 pages of it is the dungeon. Kind of curious how that ends up playing out. I highly doubt the vast majority of gamers who tackle mega dungeons ever come within 25% of completing the entire dungeon. I'm just saying. For every group of players out there who have a year-long campaign, there are probably 10 who start something new every 3 to 6 months. Don't know. But I would like to take a peek at this. This would be pretty cool. I think it's in print. That'd be pretty crazy, right? 1,200 page volume. Probably kill somebody with that book. Maybe. All right. No Limelight Productions is with us, as well as DB has landed. Good deal. Looks like chat's rocking and rolling tonight. Now available in print from author Pete Burgess is Last Call of Cthulhu. Here's what I know. Crack open a cold one for Last Call of Cthulhu, where your drink is as important as your dice. This 61-page softcover includes player drinking game rules, mixing traditional Call of Cthulhu gameplay with social drinking for a memorable or hazy role-playing experience. It includes The Trip, a thrilling 3 to 4 hour, 29-page modern era scenario for 2 to 4 investigators set in a rural English pub with a dark secret. Can your investigators survive the ultimate lock-in? Also has cocktail recipes from across the Call of Cthulhu role-playing community. Mike Mason, Lynn Hardy, Joe Trier, Bridget Jeffries, John Hook, T.A. Newman, and more. They didn't ask me. My God, I spent a dozen years as a bartender. I could have created a few drinks for them. Been running the game for over 40 years. 4 pre-generated character sheets on beer mats. Full color handouts and maps are also part of the bargain. The 61-page softcover with PDF can be had for $18.99 over at DriveThruRPG. If you want to just score the PDF, you certainly can for $5.99. I like how we've got the takeoff of the EC comic. Weirdly enough, it not only has the EC trade dress, it also has the EC logoing on that. But that was a little odd. Usually, I know the company doesn't exist anymore, but there are people who do own the rights to that. So I don't know. I don't know what to do. It sounds kind of interesting. I don't know if I necessarily want to be slamming back some cocktails while playing that. Mike says that cover is tripping with the X-ray drink. Ooh. Scary kids, scary. On to the final news piece. The one-page Dungeon Compendium 2025 is now available as a pay-what-you-want over at DriveThruRPG. And I've got the latest from Spiel Knights. It's a collection of all 77 entries for the 2025 one-page dungeon contest. Dangerous dungeons, exciting encounters, amazing adventures, and wonderful worlds. Each entry fits on a single page compiled into one volume. You receive the following downloadable items: the 2025 full compendium, all 77 submissions collected into a single PDF, as well as source documents in a zip file the original entry files as submitted. These dungeons are system neutral and are ready for any fantasy system. All entries are licensed under Creative Commons Attribution Share Alike. Proceeds support future one-page dungeon contests and prize pools. Now, the overall winner was, well, what now? By Pork Mort Team. When the merchant you're escorting vanishes into a mysterious well, only a descent into twisting caverns can uncover the truth. Strange creatures and deadly choices await. It's dangerous to go alone. Then we have Best in Theme, Never Split the Party. So, you've split the party by Daniel Sullivan. A magical disaster tears the adventurer Holgath the Harsh into limbs, torso, and head, each acting independently. Can you reunite yourself before the dungeon finishes you off? And then there's 75 more. Now, I would take a wild guess that since you're getting all of the submissions, not just the best of the submissions, there's probably some lackluster stuff in here as well. But hey, it's pay what you want. And the publisher's recommended price is $4.99. Probably get quite a lot of gaming out of just that. All right, so that is it for the news tonight. Of course, I mentioned DriveThruRPG quite a few times. Don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to stop by DriveThruRPG, Storyteller's Vault, Dungeon Masters Guild, Wargame Vault, any of those One Bookshelf sites, please stop by thegaminggang.com. Click on our banners. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. 5% of that sale heads my way. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around from month to month. Much appreciated. Plus, of course, if you enjoy the Gaming Gang, if you like what we do, if you feel this is a valuable commodity, there are a couple other ways for you to support the outlet as well. One, you can make a one-time donation to the outlet by way of PayPal. Hell, you can buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda. Zesty. Or become a monthly member of our Patreon. You will find links in the show notes. Also in the show notes, you'll find an invite link to our Discord server. So by all means, it's free to sign up. So head on over there, come hang with the gang over on Discord. And of course, if you are enjoying the video, be sure to give it a quick thumbs up. Always like to take a moment to thank our Patreon members. So a big thank you to Adrian Carpio, Kuval, Kevin R. Smith, Talzek, Sean O'Donnell, Hermann Luttmann, who we are actually looking at one of his designs, well, an expansion to one of his games as well. Gustavo Cavalho, Matt Weiss, Kevin King, Game Cat, RPG Munch, Tier 2 DM, Dan Webb, Tessie Trekkie, Agile Monk, and the Madman. Thank you very much for helping to keep the Gaming Gang around. Right, so we're going to take a look at the Plum Island Horror. More of a bad thing in just a little bit. Before we do, I did want to mention, how do I want to put this? I don't want to, like, make anybody, I was going to say, I don't want to, spread fear. I have to be honest, I don't know how long the live streams are going to continue. and I'll explain why. And it's really more about what I end up getting from the live streams. Now, I love doing the live streams. I enjoy, you know, interacting with people in chat and having people come up at conventions and say hello and introduce themselves and they're like, oh, hey, I'm so and so in chat and things like that. But I'll tell you what, it's like YouTube is trying to drive people out of live streaming. And the thing is, I think I've mentioned this before. So it takes at least 12 hours for these videos to process through YouTube. Now, 15 minutes after this stream is over, you can watch this and it's like, hey, it's in 1440p, you're all good. So I don't know what's processing. So during that period, there is normally absolutely zero monetization. Now, there might be an ad when you start watching the video. There might be an ad when the video ends. But for the most part, it is my understanding that there are no ads when this is processing. So the majority of the views that the live streams get have no monetization. And it's weird because it's kind of sketchy, right? Because like if you're a content creator on YouTube and you do live stuff, it's only after that processing is complete where it starts tracking views. So you may have a live stream that got 250 views while it was live, and those analytics are kept elsewhere. So when you're looking at your channel stats and you're looking at your videos, it's only from the point that that processing ended that it shows views. So it's sort of like, what's going on? It's like, okay. So what was it? I think it was, might have been the Dolmenwood video last week I think there was close to 300 live views. And then I glanced at it. I think after we got to Philadelphia, I was setting up my laptop and it was showing like 75 views. And I'm like, oh. So the other thing too is there are times when the processing period takes longer than 24 hours. So for the first 24, 28 hours, I've had this happen. In fact, it happened twice in the past 2 weeks. In fact, back-to-back videos, it took more than 24 hours. And at that point in time, you're looking at probably 80% of the views on that video are going to end up being without monetization. So it's not as if I make a ton of money doing this anyway. So the reality is I don't want to say it's costing me to do the live stream, but it's certainly not as profitable around here for the live streaming because, I could share just live look videos as standalone videos, right? The look at more of a bad thing could be a standalone video and then, the review, things like that. So I got to be honest, I was like, banging out some numbers in that and it was not impressive. So, I've never really made much out of this anyway. But it's, it's starting to look like it's frustrating when you sit there and you do the stream. And you're supposed to be getting ads while the stream is going on. Is that taking place? I don't know. I know we used to have folks talking about how, hey, it's like every 10 minutes I'm getting an ad here. And I think that's what YouTube was trying to do about every 10 minutes. I don't hear people complain about the ads interrupting the show. So a lot of times, well, for one, the videos are set for auto ads at approximately every 10 minutes. Also, as I pointed out, when it's like, oh, well, it's processing, doesn't seem to be any ads going, no monetization. Even when I have videos set for the auto ads, which are supposed to add those ad breaks into the video, and then I check to see, are there too many of them? Because then I'll delete some. About half the time, it doesn't even do it. So it's like, oh, okay, thanks. Thanks for that. Much appreciated. And you want people to be streaming, huh? Okay. All right. Let's get right on it. Kevin R. Smith is with us tonight. Wasn't YouTube trying to get everybody live streamed fairly recently? Yeah, they're always trying. They're always floating things out. But it's like, oh, hey, try to incorporate this into your streams. And I think it was when the playoffs were starting, it was like football. And it's like, yeah, I love football. I watch football. There's really no way for me to incorporate football into what I do. Mike says, so weird that YouTube seems to not communicate openly with creators. I hear this from nearly all channels. Yeah, that is the reality. You don't know what the algorithm is, and then the algorithm changes. And then people, they try to, reverse engineer what the algorithm is. And then they figure, oh, okay, I've got the answers. Then the algorithm changes. And I mean, I understand, that there are people out there who game the system, but Kevin says, seems like a lot of creators can't figure out what the algorithm is rewarding or punishing until they go into their analytics. Your analytics won't show you that either. The algorithm is meant to be a mystery. No joke. It's meant to be a mystery. No one is supposed to understand the algorithm for YouTube, just like no one's supposed to understand the algorithm for Google. How do you end up with the top, search result? There is no hard, fast answer to that because Google wants that to be a mystery, just like they want the algorithm on YouTube to be a mystery. Now, does that mean you can't, kit bash it and figure out what it is or get an idea of what it is? Sure. And then that's when they'll change the algorithm. I'm just pointing this out. I mean, we're closing in on 1,300 live streams. And I would think if there seemed to be like a logical time for me to wrap up the live streams, it would be with episode 1,300. Otherwise, because I don't want to just be like, oh, yeah, this is episode 1342, and this is the last. I mean, that's kind of an oddball number, right, to be like wrap it up on. I don't know. It's just a little disheartening. DB says you got to go to 1,500. That would be like 2 or 3 years. That's still a long ways out. Because you figure you get with breaks and holidays and things like that, although there are far few like holidays off because I don't do Mondays, but you're probably looking at 120 live streams. Probably a little more than that. 130 live streams or so, 135 live streams per year. So yeah, DB's like, yeah, another 2.5, 3 years. Yeah. Well, it's easy for DB to say that. You don't go through all the work to put this in front of people and then sit there and be like, oh, wow, that live stream made me $1.14 in the first like 3 days. That's what I'm talking about. I know there are people out there who think, yeah, oh, yeah, streamers make a lot of money. That I know. Oh, yeah, but you get all that free stuff. Yeah, okay, but it's still work. Still have to read the stuff, have to play the stuff like board games, things like that. I'm just mentioning this. Like I said, I don't want people to be like, oh, shit, tomorrow just going to say, this is the last show. We're taking a look at this, and then I'm done. I'm done dealing with you people. Oh, keep in mind, website's not going anywhere. The channel's not going anywhere. It would be the live streams would come to an end. That's all. You'd still get the review videos. You'd still get first look videos. I would probably put something together for Patreon members only. Maybe once a week, once every couple of weeks. So I'm just letting folks know. I don't want anything. I'm very transparent. I mean, that's what it all kind of boils down to. I'm very transparent. I tell people what's on my mind. So Kevin R. Smith says, we still have Discord to hang out in. Well, not after I kick you out. DB says, but no intermissions. You can find that stuff on your own. Yeah, well, once again, there's a prime example. I have to put the brief intermissions together, and then I have to even out the sound, and sometimes I have to do a little noise removal on some of the clips and things like that. That's work involved. It's time, and maybe it's not, physical energy, but it's mental energy. So anyway, just letting folks know. DB says, I'm not the one making 149. Oh, well, that was a video as an example. And that was one of those videos where I was like, oh, yeah, it took like 30 hours for it to process. And then it showed it didn't have any of the automatic ad placement in it whatsoever. And I was like, oh, for crying out. The man says they'd be laid off from their YouTube bouncer job. What would they do with their banhammer? To put it up behind the bar, right? Like the retired fighter always does in the fantasy tavern. It's always their weapon above their head. Yeah. So that is that. Like I said, I'm not losing sleep over it. Nobody else needs to either. I'm just informing folks that, not that the end of the live streams happens to be imminent, but this is not something that's going to continue on forever, at least not the way things currently lie. That's it. Hey, so we were just talking about brief intermissions. We are going to be diving on in and taking a look at More of a Bad Thing for the Plum Island Horror from GMT Games. But first, it is time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
Hey, son of a gun, it's refreshment time! Come on, and taste the Pepsi way. Come on, and have a Pepsi day. Wrap a thirsty smile around it, raise a Pepsi up and down it. Come on, and have a Pepsi day. Come on, and make this day a celebration. Come on, and join the Pepsi generation. Come on. Have a Pepsi day.
regular Burger King burger and fries. Oh, look at him make that Whopper with all that pure beef. Why can't I have a Whopper, Lieutenant? You got one.
That's exactly why you can't. You see, Eddie, it takes two hands to handle a Whopper.
The burgers are bigger at Burger King.
Howdy, stranger. I hear you don't drink Wilkins coffee.
Yeah, so what?
Now, are there any other strangers in town?
Jaws. 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 Jaws is the game where you try to fish out what's in the jaws of the great white shark.
I'm going for the camera. Made it.
But be careful, because if you remove the wrong piece, the jaws will get you. You're out. Jaws. It's you against the great white shark and each other from Ideal.
Our show is on the air every morning, Monday through Friday here at Channel 9, WGN-TV, from 7 to 8:30. One of the big stars on the show, Phoebe, Bugs Bunny.
The plans are ruined. Garde! Les abattoirs! Les spies!
Ye Old Ray Rayner Show, 7 to 8:30, Monday through Friday on Channel 9.
Unburied dead are coming back to life, seeking human victims.
The people it kills get up and kill. They have overrun us, you know. We're in the minority now. This is a war!
And moving toward the city.
There's nothing there, man.
They're communicating. They're thinking.
George A. Romero's Land of the Dead.
Zombies, man. They creep me out.
Land of the Dead. In my opinion, the last of any decent George Romero zombie flick. Was that blasphemy? Yeah, not a fan of the, what was it? Didn't he do two more? Because I thought originally Land of the Dead was going to kick off another kind of loosely related trilogy. And then it didn't do so great at the box office. So that was the end of that. And then, in my opinion, I think Romero's last zombie flicks were far too concerned with making statements about society as opposed to actually being zombie movies, which is fine. I mean, you know, Romero always had something to, I mean, Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, they all have something to say about us. But it's kind of like, But the one that's all about, like, almost like internet fame and crap like that, I was like, God, this is awful. This is terrible. It's a terrible movie. I want my rental fee back. Mark Edwards is joining us in chat. Welcome aboard. So tonight, we're going to be taking a look at the Plum Island Horror. More of a Bad Thing from GMT Games. It's designed by my pal, Hermann Luttmann. Now, of course, you do need to have the Plum Island Horror itself in order to use this expansion. And this expansion carries an MSRP of $74. More on that in just a few moments. But I am kind of surprised by that pricing. Let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got more of a bad thing. So, do want to mention my good friends over at GMT Games were kind enough to provide me with this review copy. But neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this first look with you. Very important you know that. I see Tessie Trekkie is with us tonight. Welcome back. All right, I'm going to get this shrink wrap off. Maybe, possibly. I knew I'd defeat the plastic in the end. Maybe. There we go. All right. Let's take a look at the back. The reason why I mentioned I'm kind of surprised with the pricing. This is actually a pretty light box. We'll find out. Well. You just couldn't get enough of the Plum Island Horror, could you? And now you went and asked for more stuff. Conflicting reports about the fateful events on Plum Island from October 24th, which just happens to be my birthday, followed by the 25th being my mom's birthday. Actually, October 24th is also my sister-in-law's birthday. Anyway, unrelated. From October 24th to October 26th, have everyone spitballing their personal theories on what truly happened. Alpha horrors leading packs of their lesser brethren, uncredited heroes who helped save the day, radio waves driving horrors to a frenzy, petty friction between the island factions, all of whom wanted to come out on top. We'll probably never know for sure unless this new expansion serves up the following: 3 new factions, each with 6 brand new units, an alarming mode, which can spice up the difficulty of any scenario played, 18 new search cards, 6 of which are used exclusively with alarming mode, 15 new event cards, alpha horrors, a catalog of nightmare options, 3 short scenarios with a twist of lemon, twist of lime, 2 full-length scenarios which completely change the way you approach the game. So the Plum Island Horror is a fairly low complexity game with extremely high solitaire suitability because you can play it solitaire. You can also play it with up to 4 players. If you are curious about the Plum Island Horror, I have reviewed it. All right, let's get this open. Come on, box. What are you doing over here? There we go. So we have our handbook. Then we start getting into new factions. Looks like we've got some punch boards there. I'm going to get that out of the way. Your guide to understanding more of a bad thing. And of course, as I mentioned, this is designed by my pal Hermann Luttmann. Welcome to the officially approved Star Chamber endorsed and blood sealed expansion for the Plum Island Horror. We've taken all the feedback we've received from the players out there in board game land and digested it, analyzed it, parsed it, and checked it, all with our handy electron microscope. Thank you all, but you wasted your time. We took your suggestions and threw them in the trash where they belong. That's pretty funny. Just leave this stuff to the professionals, okay? The new rules and components you will find in this expansion can be utilized by you and your fellow gamers as you see fit. Add some, all, or none of these new items. Well, I hope you'd add some, otherwise you've just wasted your money. But decide to do so or not before the game begins. Of course, one would ask, why would you buy this and not use any of it? Yes, I just said that, but I digress. Each section will detail what new rules or components are added to the game and how to use them. And for those of you who have an incessant fear of missing out, or just a compelling completionist vibe, don't worry, your purchase of this expansion will not affect the base game at all. You can still play it as is. Good news, right? So if you bought this product because it's the perfect size to stick on your shelf to cover up that ugly hole in the wall, or because you need a cool-looking doorstop, sorry, folks, this box is too light to be a doorstop, or perhaps because you think there's an actual zombie apocalypse on the horizon. Well, we got an apocalypse on the horizon, but I don't think zombies have anything to do with it. And this game will jump up in resale value. You're good. Regardless, rest assured that this expansion does not change the base game unless you want it to. If you feel like the base game would be better for a particular type of crowd, then you're good to go. If you want to play the game with all the evil frills of this expansion for a more masochistic game group, you have that option as well. Never accuse me of not having your best interest at heart. Sincerely, H. Butterman. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's H. Buttman. Take off of Hermann Luttmann there. Well, one thing I will say, you might remember Hermann Luttmann, especially if you're a follower of the Gaming Gang, and you have been for years. He is the designer of Dawn of the Zeds, one of my absolute favorite solitaire games ever. Really captures the feel of a zombie movie with a lot of epicness going on as well. But I'll tell you one thing, and I think, I can talk about this because of Victory Point Games is no longer owned by the same people anymore. Sadly, Alan Emmerich is no longer with us. But as the new editions of it came out, there were like all these things that were just added into it, and they weren't necessarily optional. So it became almost like a feel of like, okay, where's the kitchen sink? Because that's all that's missing. And all the changes weren't necessarily always for the best. So the Plum Island Horror is not a zombie game. So the monsters aren't zombies. They're actually affected by this chemical from this plant. At least that's what the rumor is. So it looks as if Herman had complete control probably over this expansion. Right. So we've got new factions. We've got the Oceanside Construction Company. So they've got demolitionists and highway maintenance, and they have a towering crane. So that is their compound. I liked the Plum Island Horror. I thought it was actually quite a bit easier to win than Dawn of the Zeds. I think that was kind of a complaint. Well, I don't know if I want to say complaint. I think that was a critique that some people had, was that it was not as challenging as Dawn of the Zeds. We got Monkey Island Cultists. There we go. So we've got Madness Monks and Mystical Monks. We got ZZ's Big Top Circus. They've got a clown car. I hope ZZ Top doesn't see any sort of reference to a clown car with them. So we got new search cards. So we have VIP civilian units. We have Civil War reenactors. All right. Ricky Bubba stock car team. We have George Savlaki. We got a movie film crew. Booby traps. New mutations. So we have 3 new mutations from event cards. We got the reanimated grizzly bear, the Montauk monster, and the frantic tumbling cockroaches. We have some new alpha horrors. We have the All Bat Witch Pack, Men in Black, and Feral Armadillos, as well as Demented Auditors. We have Nickel Weiss, the clown. All right, alarming mode. Because the Plum Island Research Laboratory values the safety of all of our employees and test subjects, all facilities are subjected to annual emergency readiness and response testing. Our core value pillar of brutality has guided us to ensure that the ERRT is not only painfully difficult, but also places our employees at gross personal risk. These stress tests are an important part of our annual cover-up efforts. Excuse me. And we thank employees for their complicity. All ERRT results will be promptly shredded and burned. Remember, the alarm can sound at any moment. So Plum Island's got a pretty nice big game board. And there are things that are kind of out of action to start off the game because there's been, if I remember right, I think it's a hurricane that blows through. So we've got some rules changes. So some of the changes here. Death will have its day. Whenever a civilian's unit is eliminated, no matter the reason, reduce your evacuation points by that civilian's EP. Your EP can now go below 0, and you do not stop counting EP when you reach 26. If your EP ever gets -9 or lower, you instantly lose the game. If your EP ever gets to 46 or higher, because as you're evacuating people off the island, you're gaining these essentially kind of like victory points. You still need 26 EP or more at the end of the game in order to win. All right. So just a few different items there. Alarming mode example. Oh no, there goes Tokyo. Blue Oyster Cult there. Go Godzilla. A Murder of Horrors stack of 4 units is in the island-wide light and power area. And another Murder of Horrors stack of 5 units is in the first precinct area when track 3 activates. The 4-unit stack first moves into the beach area, stops as it makes contact with the lifeguard. Combat marker is placed as a reminder. Then the 5-stack unit follows suit and moves into the same area. Both stacks amalgamate into a 9-unit stack that triggers, oh no, there goes Tokyo. But first, we need to complete the current activation. So there are, different combat rules and stuff like that. All right, I get you. Nightmare options if you dare. We have beyond October 27th. Meals before bullets. Players have to feed their units during the hunger phase if able. Storm of the Century. So the island-wide light and power area starts the scenario with any amount of damaged markers. So there are things that have to be repaired. As I mentioned, this storm blows through. So power is out. This bridge is out. So not only do you have to worry about this ever-growing wave of monsters, you also have to try to evacuate citizens. And to evacuate those citizens, you need to get things back online. So we have scenario 1. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. A short scenario lasting 3 game rounds. It is October 25th. Superstorm Nancy has hit. The island is a disaster, and your factions are groggy, disorganized, and trying to recover. Not ideal. Boy, you were not ready for that surprise from Mother Nature. And to make matters worse, if that is even possible, the horror has been really juiced up and energized by the lab's destruction. They've been thoroughly doused in the evil broth and are twice as potent and angry as they would normally be. That is, by horror standards. Imminent disaster is staring you and your compadres smack in the face. There's no time to lose. You will be in a tug of war, or better yet, a tug of gore. Struggle with the horrors as you attempt to keep their initial devastation to a minimum. So as you can see, this is a game that takes itself really seriously. Oh, looks like Sarah D has joined us. Good to see you, Sarah. So there you go. It's Ballroom Blitz. Nice. Start jamming that in the background. So the enemy of my enemy is my friend. This is a full-length scenario that adds a bit of internal competition and friction between the factions. So if you're playing multiplayer, each player is going to control a faction of island folk. And essentially, you're not working against each other. You're trying to cooperate to get people to safety. Here it looks like we got bragging rights points. So there you have it. So maybe a little bit of competition going on. All right, and then we have a flowchart here for the horrors activating. And a quick reference. All right, so let's see. So here we've got our faction mats. So we have the new factions. This is ZZ's Big Top Circus, featuring, as I already mentioned, Nickel Wise the Clown, Donnie and Marie as a dog and pony show, Fanny Oakley, who's a sharpshooter, the Flying Beard Brothers, they're trapeze artists. There's our clown car, which is your compound. Each faction has a compound that they're looking to protect. It's kind of their home base. And then we have Bailey Barnum. It's our ringmaster. So that's cool. It should be just one-sided. Yep. So we've got that. Then we've got the Oceanside Construction Company. Mike Two-Man Taylor. Ty Tough Murray. Handy Mandy Garcia. They've got the Towering Crane as their compound. Becky the Builder. Wreck-It Rolf. There's our Monkey Island cultists. So David Larry. So I see this is kind of an homage to Seinfeld here, because we've got Cosmo Cthulhu, Jerry Shogoth, Elaine Lovecraft, George Gaunt, and what is it, Patty Migo? It's a monkey on a dolphin. All right. Little Illuminati book reference there, I think. Here are our new horror mutations. The reanimated grizzly bear, the Montauk monster, and the frantic tumbling cockroaches. Oh. And there is another faction. The Islanders Athletic Club. I'm trying to remember. I thought these folks were in the original game. Maybe there was a misprint. Or then again, maybe it's a brand new faction here. So, and their compound is a sporting goods store. So we have got that. We have our roadmap to alarming mode. Giving us our breakdowns here. And our quick reference. So we've got the quick reference here, and we also had it on the back of the book. We've got our tracking sheet. So we got a round track, biohazard track, overrun points, our biohazard cubes, and mandatory evacuation points track. We're saved. So that's one of the things that, if you are familiar with Hermann Luttmann's work, Hermann likes a lot of chaos in his games. So his games have a lot of replayability because there is so much chaos. Now, there's a method to the madness. It's not just crazy random stuff going on. You're like, what the hell's good? What? But many of Hermann Luttmann's non-war games, and some of his war games too, in reality, tell you a story. So when you're done playing, you have a story to regale your friends with. It's pretty interesting how that works. So there tends to usually be a variety of things that the players are juggling. I see some of our counters have popped out. So just grabbing those out of the box. But as far as the storytelling involved, it's really cool. Very, very cool. If you've not played like Dawn of the Zeds, I think it's still around. I think you can still get it from Tabletop Tycoon. It's Victory Point Games, but now they're an offshoot of Tabletop Tycoon. And there are just a handful of the Victory Point Games titles that they still publish, one being kind of a deluxe version of Dawn of the Zeds. And of course, the Plum Island Horror just got, I do believe, a brand new print run. So you can grab that too. Matthew Constantine is with us. Says, finally have a working laptop. Can't stay, but hoping I'll be able to make live shows again. Have a good one. All right. Very nice. Kevin R. Smith says, I knew there had to be a reference to beards in the ZZ Top Circus. Right. Had to be. ZZ Big Top Circus. All right. So we've got a couple of punch boards. So we've got spare tokens. So we have tokens for our new factions and such. Dual-sided. And then the factions all have like character counters. So this is where you would have those. So yeah, you know what? I think that athletic club, reason why we have a new mat, there must have been a misprint on the original. So here we've got, there's the circus once again. And of course, they're dual-sided. So we've got that. We have some decks of cards. We've got some standees. We've got more standees, I should say. We also have some Ziploc bags. So we will zoom in. I'll give you a better look at these. So these are just the tokens here. So we have these like named characters for your factions. We also have civilian units. So we have civilians who have no attack or defense. And then we also have other civilians who can actually put up a bit of a fight. So these characters can also organize those civilians. There you go. I really like the map to the Plum Island Horror. It's really cool. It's got a lot of visual pizzazz. All right. We're going to take a look at these cards because we have a few different additions to our decks. We've got new search cards. We have new event cards. Fate cards. Okay, so we've got 3 additions to our decks: event, fate, and search cards. First one we'll look at is the search cards. Life in the Fast Lane. You notice a lot of musical references here, too. Your search team finds a mechanic from the vaunted number 13 Moon Pie-sponsored stock car racing team, led by the legendary driver Ricky Bubba. The team was on the island for a promotional tour when the storm hit. He and his pit crew have been wandering around, racing up and down Route 41 and helping soup up any cars they come across. So we've got some new civilians, which we would add into the game. Handy dandy minds. Some of your team members enter the abandoned garage of Sheldon's Big Bang Bazinga Developers, a local land development company. After rummaging through the back rooms, they find a hidden cache of mines. Your unit picks up 1 booby trap marker. Let's take a look at one more. Dumber and Dumberer. 2 members of your advanced team, Lloyd and Harry, stumble upon a huge crate. Draped around the crate is a tarp that has scrawled on it in big letters, "Do not open this crate under any circumstances." Harry says, "I wonder what's in there that they don't want us to see." Lloyd responds, "Well, it's not sitting under a sign that says any circumstances, so it's safe. Let's open it." They open the crate and outpour hundreds of horrors, especially ripe and infectious after being cooped up in that crate for so long. Increase the biohazard level by 1 and then spawn 7 murder of horrors into this area. 7 murder of horrors tiles into this area. Yowza. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, dummies. So we got some event cards here. Card stock, really nice. GMT Games always has really nice card stock. Although, I always recommend even if you're using penny sleeves, throw penny sleeves on here. It's going to help save your cards from a lot of wear and tear. So here we've got, these are our new mutations right there. The All Bet Witch Pack, Men in Black. All right, so what's going on with the Men in Black? The infamous secretive agents in black suits and sunglasses have decided to join the horrors. What the? They've taught them their sneaky paranormal way to get around, and this includes black helicopters. The Men in Black have turned on us. Well, I guess there are people out there who do think the Men in Black are actually alien. Draw a fate number and spawn a murder of horror stack in that tracked spawn zone. Then place the Men in Black alpha horror tile on top of that stack. Damn you, Men in Black. Let's see. The Happening. Oh, geez. Is this going to have a reference to that awful movie I showed a trailer for last week? Reports are now coming in that even the trees, yep, there we go. Even the trees, flowers, and bushes are being affected by the toxins. Panicked survivors tell tales of enormous pollen spores floating through the air like helium balloons and covering them in infected dust. Talk about hay fever. Place 1 damaged 2 marker in Inga Forest and both Pine Barrens areas. As long as one of those areas is damaged, players draw 3 biohazard cubes during each biohazard infection step. It's another way you can kind of lose if the biohazard level gets too high. Keep this card near the board as a reminder of this effect. Yeah, these events tend to be all bad. All right, fate cards. So the fate card deck is used to determine what's going on certain tracks, right? So there are certain ways that the horrors are going to advance along different tracks. So they have like a progression that they'll go through in different areas of the board. So a lot of times if you need to find out what track something's going on, you'll take a card like this, right? So this is the spawn area, and then this is the activate area. And then sometimes we need a random number. So that's the random number generator down there. This is for, I think these are cards, right? So some of these cards are only for like the harder edition. It's been a long time since I played the game, folks, so I apologize. But I'll tell you what, just looking through the expansion here, I'm like, I got to bust it back out. I played it with my nephew Cameron. Both of us played. I'd like to play it with the gang, right? I like to get my brother Greg, Elliot, Cameron, myself to play this. So this would be our spawn. So sometimes it'll tell you, okay, draw a fate card, look at the spawn, see what happens. So that's going to spawn more creatures. And then it's going to be like, okay, so if you have to find out what track they would be on, I think it might be this number down here. Or then again, I could be misremembering how to play this game completely. So we also look to see where are the horrors advancing, right? So keep in mind, these are for like harder level games here, scenarios. So this one shows like tough, and then this is horrifying. So I think this is like the game cranked to 11. So as an example, every turn you need to find out what's going on with how are these things advancing. Where do we activate the horrors? So here it'd be like track 4. Horrors. Movement allowance is increased by 2 for this activation. And then in the case of an event, this says no event card. So the fate card serves multiple purposes as opposed to the search cards and the event cards. Should have done that in the other order. Search cards and event cards. All right. So we've got our additions to our decks of cards. Those are our standees. Quite a few of those in there. Probably, I'll take a guess, 15. Hopefully enough for each of the new members of the factions. Not that you're going to be utilizing all the factions every game, because the factions are for the players. So we've got the decks of cards. Got some baggies for our tokens and counters. We've got 1.5 punch boards. We've got our tracking reference sheets. We've got our fresh new factions, plus I think a corrected mat for the athletic club, right? Yep, the athletic club. And then, of course, we also have the emergency response handbook. That's what we find when we take everything from More of a Bad Thing for the Plum Island Horror out of the box. Very, very cool. Swing on over to the other camera. So, okay, I got to be honest. I don't see this being a $74 expansion, though. I mean, it looks great. Looks like it's going to add a good amount of fun to the proceedings. $74 feels really pricey for that. And I get it. I certainly do get it. War games from GMT Games, you know, it's kind of a niche. Great stuff. Don't get me wrong. So I tell people all the time, because I have people ask me, hey, how come war games are, you know, so much more expensive than, you know, regular, you know, board games, right? So how come like a war game from GMT tends to be pricier than a game from Stone Mayer Games? Well, because Stone Mayer Games is going to sell a lot more copies of their games. So they've got a lot more opportunity to kind of, you know, reduce the profit margin and still come out ahead, where, you know, GMT Games, you gotta remember that the P500, the pre-order, that's what the P500 is, you know, it's supposed to be, well, if the game gets 500 pre-orders, it goes to the printer. In reality, it's usually a little more than that, sometimes a lot more than that, before it'll go to the printer. But you figure even stuff that's got, you know, a pretty good pre-order, you're looking at maybe 1,200, 1,500 copies. 2,000 when you add in like retailers and things like that. So I do understand the pricing being higher. All I'm saying, as at first glance, $74 does seem pricey for this expansion. The core game itself is like $120. So, and it is packed with stuff. Don't get me wrong, but the core game is, I think last time I looked, I think it's $115, $119, something like that. But if you're curious about the Plum Island Horror, I do have video coverage. I think we did a first look. Pretty sure we did a first look. I know I did a review video. So by all means, take a peek. I'm not trying to dissuade you from checking it out. I'm just being very honest. That's how I am. All righty. So that's it for tonight's show. Tomorrow, I know I had mentioned we were maybe doing a Fight On show. We're going to do that next week. We're going to do that next Tuesday, because Fight On Publications is going to put together a special bundle for viewers of the Gaming Gang, so they can pick up the 3 new issues in PDF at a very nice price. So we're going to do that on Tuesday. So tomorrow, we're going to take a peek at the Castles and Crusades Codex Infernum, which I had plans for us to be taking a look at soon anywho. So that's going to be on tomorrow's show. Then next week, Tuesday, we'll do Fight On and take a look at the 3 new issues since Fight On returned. We're also going to take a look at the Monstrous Menagerie 2 Hordes and Heroes 4 Level Up Advanced 5E. And then I think we might float something out there from Jeffrey Jones next week. I'm not sure which. Of course, I do plan on having a review this weekend if it's not, you know, really cold down here, because it's cool down here right now. I'll put it this way. I would probably not be hanging out down here right now if I wasn't doing a live stream. So I'm thinking this weekend might be pretty chilly down here. But I am hoping to get my review for 2300 AD out to you, and maybe 1 or 2 Dolmenwood Adventure reviews. And maybe something else too. I don't know. Anyway, if you watch live, thank you very much. If you watch live and took part in chat, tip-o the cap to you, because not only are you keeping me company, but you're also keeping each other company while I'm going through the news and unboxing games or paging through books and so on and so forth. But of course, I know a lot of folks out there, you don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you for taking time out to watch any of the over 2,300 videos here on the Gaming Gang channel. I know. 2,300. It's like, yikes. Everybody enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already for whatever reason. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that notification bell because it's supposed to let you know not only when the Dispatch streams live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. It's also supposed to let you know when I share other videos, such as my recent review of Dungeons Deep from our friends over at Kobold Press. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thank you very much for watching. And as always, I certainly hope each and every one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.